Okay, we're going to get started here. And those of you that are watching on YouTube, if you're a member of the Cross Country Fellowship already, hello. Hope you all have had a good evening or whatever time you're watching this. And if you're not part of Cross Country Fellowship, you can be if you want to be. Put a note on the YouTube and I'll get back with you and get you hooked up on that. And if you want to see all these videos, just subscribe and you'll get a notification whenever a new video comes out, which is normally every Sunday evening. All right, here we are. We're in Isaiah, session 10. Last week, we began studying Isaiah chapter 11. The entire chapter is a prophecy about Jesus' first and second comings. Most of what we studied last week, which was Isaiah 11, 1 through 5, was focused on, most of chapter 11 is focused on the second coming, but a lot of first 5 verses were focused on the first coming. Let's review what we studied last week. Verse 1 just addressed the Messiah's lineage, which was fulfilled in Jesus. We spent some time talking about the lineage of Joseph and the lineage of Mary, and they're different, and that's important. And then verse 2 talks about how Jesus would be fulfilled with the Holy Spirit, and we spent some time talking about the evidence of how this was actually fulfilled with the dove coming down at Jesus' baptism, and then how the Holy Spirit and Jesus worked completely in unison throughout Jesus' ministry. Isaiah verses 3 and 4 smoothly moved into the second coming, and it said that Jesus would rule people not by what he sees, but what is in their hearts and minds, and he will greatly care for the poor and meek and will destroy the wicked. Yeah. And verse 5 explains that Jesus will rule with righteousness and faithfulness. What a time to be alive on earth. Although it won't be a good time for wicked people. When you remove wickedness from the world, peace will happen because righteousness brings peace. So tonight we're going to continue on and hopefully finish Isaiah 11. And we're going to start in verses 6 through 10. If I could get somebody to read for me Isaiah 11, verses 6 through 10.
The wolf shall also shall dwell with the lamb. My lighting isn't too good for these eyes that are going bad, so
Do you want these larger?
The leopard shall lie down with the young goat, the calf and the young lion, and the faulting together. When the fatling together, whatever a fatling is that a
fattened calf?
Okay. And a little child shall lead them. The cow and the bear shall graze. Their young ones shall lie down together, and the lion shall eat straw like the ox. The nursing child shall play by the cobra's hole, and the weaned child shall put his hand in the viper's den. They shall not hurt nor destroy in all my holy mountain. For the earth shall be full of the knowledge of the Lord as the waters cover the sea. And in that day, well, you want 10 too, or?
Yeah, please. Yeah, 10 to. Awesome.
And in that day, there shall be a root of Jesse who shall stand as a banner to the people. For the Gentiles shall seek him, and his resting place shall be glorious.
Okay, good. Let's talk about it. When Jesus returns to be the king, he's going to make some changes to the earth and to the animals of the earth. He's going to remake the earth so that it'll be the way he wants it. He can do that. He's a creator, right?
Yeah.
He has that prerogative. He's sovereign. And you know, in these verses, one of the things one of the first times I saw this as I read through it, there's a common theme in the verses. What's that? What do you think it is?
Come back.
We all get
Peace,
along with
peace
it.
among creation.
Well, yeah,
I think, that's really the theme, but there's a secondary theme, and it's the word child. The word child is in there 3 times.
Yeah.
God values children. He really does. And as I was reading this time, I thought maybe he's making these changes to protect children from harm, because he loves children.
well, and all the stuff with the animals eating us and each other was all as a result of sin, so.
Yes. Mhm. So I believe that God originally created the earth and all its occupants to be this way, what we just read. Genesis 1, verses 29 and 30. I'm going to read it. Actually, Martha's going to read it.
Oh, I am, okay. And God said, behold, I have given you every plant yielding seed that is on the face of the earth, and every tree with seed in its fruit. You shall have them for food. And to every beast of the earth, and to every bird of the heavens, and to everything that creeps on the earth, everything that has the breath of life, I have given every green plant for food. And it was so.
So you notice in verse 29, it says, he's talking to Adam and Eve. Behold, I have given you people, every plant yielding seed that is on the face of the earth, and every tree with seed in its fruit, and you shall eat them, you shall have them for food. And then he addresses the animals. He said, to every beast of the earth and every bird of the heavens, everything that creeps on the earth, everything that has the breath of life, I've given every green plant for food. And it was so. That's the way God created the earth and everything in it. He created us to be vegans.
Now, I bet something you don't have in your notes. So I just thought of this. I'm such a dope. You know, the cobra. I wonder if he's got legs and feet since he was put on his belly as a serpent back in the.
Very likely. Very likely.
Who knows?
I don't know why I think of things like that, but
Well, Bob, you know, there's other people that think of those things too, because I read in a commentary where someone was speculating that exact thing.
Oh,
So you're not the only one that thought of that.
okay. So I'm not the only dope in the world. Okay.
So what changed the way God created for us, just like Martha said earlier, is sin.
That's sin. Sin changed everything.
And we don't know if the people before the flood began to eat animals. God had told them to eat plants. We don't know if they began to eat animals. If they did, it would have been against God's design. But we also know by the time of the flood, mankind was wholly evil, because we know from Genesis, I think it's chapter 6, it says, the only thought of their mind was only evil all the
All
time.
the time.
So who knows what they were doing before the flood? But God created and told Adam and Eve that you're to eat the fruit of the trees and the plants of the field. That's your food. That's what he told them. But after the flood, Earth's climate changed. I believe that's the reason for this. And the trees and the plants could not produce enough to feed the animals and mankind. So in Genesis chapter 9, verses 2 through 4, it says, the fear of you and the dread of you shall be upon every beast of the earth and upon every bird of the heavens, upon everything that creeps on the ground and all the fish of the sea. Into your hand they are delivered. Every moving thing that lives shall be food for you. And as I gave you the green plants, I give you everything. But you shall not eat flesh with its life, that is, its blood.
No, blue at first.
So after the flood, God said, okay, I'm changing my commandments to you. Now you may eat animals and birds, but just don't eat their blood.
Right.
But when Jesus returns, he will change nature to be more like it was before the flood. Now, see, after the flood, just as man was going to eat animals, I believe that's when animals became carnivorous. That's when the lion started eating gazelles or whatever,
Whatever was in
and
front of
so
it.
forth. I believe the animals started being carnivorous based upon the way the earth was and the world was changed, the climates were changed and so forth after the flood. But when Jesus returns, he will change nature to be more like it was before the flood. The animals will no longer be carnivorous. I can't imagine a lion eating straw or a bear eating straw.
There's a very famous painting about it. The lion always looks like he's got a kind of funny look on his face. What's this now?
Yeah. He's also going to remove their fear of mankind, such that children will be able to play with all the animals, including wolves, leopards, lions, and bears. Can you imagine being able to approach a lion or a tiger and pet them?
Well, a polar bear killed and ate somebody up in Alaska this week.
Well, I've always, my dream is when I get to heaven is I want a tiger as a pet. So that's my hoping right there.
You and my grandson.
Yep.
Yeah, well,
He loves tigers. Yeah.
yeah, and I always just imagine their fur was just so soft to touch. If you could ever get close enough to touch them without losing an arm. We're kind of lunch to a tiger.
Yeah. Snack.
Even the big ones.
Yeah. But parents will not have to worry about their children being hurt by an animal. That certainly sounds good to me. And I don't like snakes. Anybody, you guys like snakes?
I don't mind them, but I don't want one in the house.
I don't like snakes. But
Well, God said the woman would hate the snakes in Genesis.
That's right.
And pretty much everybody, it's a rare person that likes snakes.
They're
I've
weird.
been around a lot of them,
No,
and I've never seen one that wanted to be my friend. So,
No. I don't like snakes, but they too are going to be tamed and will not hurt anyone, especially children. Doesn't that sound good to you?
Yeah.
It sounds good to me. But verse 9 is very important. It says the animals will be changed because the earth will be full of the knowledge of God and of Jesus Christ. Everyone will know that Jesus is the King. Everyone will know it. They will know he's God's son. They will know that he won't tolerate evil. They will also know that he's righteous and faithful. God's presence on earth will fill the earth with more hope than it's seen since the sin of Adam and Eve. It will fill the whole earth and the creation with hope. Because God's going to be on earth living amongst them. What a great time to be alive on this earth. And I want to remind us that we will be there. We are Jesus' bride. We're part of the bride of Christ. The church is the bride of Christ. When Jesus comes for us, we will never again be separated from him for eternity as his bride. Does this sound good to anyone else?
Amen.
Certainly sounds good to me. I'm looking forward to being united with Jesus forever. What a wonderful thing. And then verse 10, I believe at first I separated verse 10 from the previous verses, but then I thought, you know what? I think it goes together with these verses. Because when Jesus returns, he will destroy the armies of the beast, and he will clearly establish himself as the king. And all of the remaining nations will immediately come to him and submit to him as the King of Kings. They will have to. They will want to know what he wants them to do. And I think they're going to be excited to find out what he wants. And I believe Jesus will give them very clear direction. And I wonder,
Well, I don't think it's gonna be arbitrary. It's gonna be very.
no, it'll be very clear, but I wonder, will he use us as ambassadors to the nations? Could be. We don't know. Makes sense to me, though. I'm just speculating, of course, because it doesn't say. But I like what it says at the last part of verse 10. His resting place will be glorious. Well, where is Jesus' resting place going to be?
Heaven.
Jerusalem. It's going to be Jerusalem.
After it comes down from heaven.
No. This is during the 1,000-year reign. This is when Jesus comes back to be king. He's going to be in Jerusalem.
Cool.
In the temple's going to be remade. And if you read the last 5 or 6 chapters of Ezekiel, the whole pattern for that temple was given to Ezekiel. The temple will be remade. And if you read what it says about it in Ezekiel, there will be a river that will flow out of the Holy of Holies in the temple and will flow toward the Mediterranean Sea. That's how we know that it's got to be in the Millennial Temple. It's not a temple that's ever been here before,
After he returned.
because there's going to be a river.
That's after the big earthquake.
Gary, I've got a dumb Dora question. When is that temple built?
Don't know. Probably it will be, I believe it will be built when Jesus takes his throne, and the Jews that return will rebuild it. And they're going to be there 1,000, he's going to be reigning for 1,000 years. So sometime after the tribulation and after Jesus returns and starts making everything new, during that time, the temple will be rebuilt.
Okay, I've got one more dumb question. The animals live at peace during the millennial kingdom. Will there be animals in the new earth, and will they be living at peace, or do we not know?
We don't know. It doesn't say.
It does say that Jesus comes out of heaven on a horse.
Sandy, we just don't know. It doesn't say. God didn't give us those details.
But
Yeah,
I
I
was
like
thinking
the
that-
part about the riding the horse. That's coming for the millennial kingdom, prior to the millennial kingdom. So
Yep.
I was wondering if they would be on the new earth as well.
Yeah, I just don't know. It doesn't say. We're
well,
not told. There's so many details that we're not given.
we just were told though that the lion will lay down with the lamb and the bear and so there's gotta be animals.
No, she's talking about the new heaven and new
Oh,
earth.
the new heaven, new earth. Well, who knows?
We don't know.
Well, it's like this, Gary. Just read Deuteronomy 29:29, and that'll answer that question.
I'll have to read it.
Deuteronomy 29:29.
Okay.
Don't know what we don't know.
Let me look.
Martha's gonna look it up.
The secret things belong to the Lord our God, but the things that are revealed to us and to our children forever, that we may do all that of the words of the law. There you go.
So it's still a secret.
Yeah, as well.
I said there were secrets.
I think we talked about this in either this group or my Sunday morning things that really what's happening around us, there's a spiritual battle going on between God and Satan.
Oh,
And it's continually happening. And I think I was talking about this in my Sunday morning group.
not one here.
And the thing is that, I was in the military and worked for the government, and I learned a thing called Operation Security. We call it OPSEC, and you know about it, Bob.
Yeah, Joe Biden does that, but I've
Not quite. I don't think the
But-
presidents pay attention to.
never mind. That was a side note.
Yes, I know. But the thing is, God knows what it is. And there's things that he doesn't want Satan to know, and he just keeps them secret. And God keeps secrets better than anybody else does. And there's just things that I like that Deuteronomy 29:29. That's a verse that you can cling to. There are some secrets that God keeps, and he's going to keep them until they happen. And there are other things that he's revealed to us, and that's for us. He's revealed it for us so we can know. He's told us a whole lot about what's going to happen. We just have to.
None ya. None your business.
But he's told us a whole lot about what's going to happen in the future. We're just reading about it right here. We're studying about it right here. He's giving us details. We just don't have all the details. So we have questions. And you know what, Sandy, what I would do is I'd ask God, and maybe he'll reveal it to you.
We would need a
Don't
lot.
mind you asking him.
Uh-huh.
We
Yeah, I
know,
was looking forward to taking care of the horses eventually.
well, last spring, I had to put, the only horse I've ever owned, I bought just to rescue her. And she lived here and she got too old and we had to put her down. So I was thinking maybe the Lord could use her as a pack horse because she's a Clydesdale. I don't think she's a raging charger into battle, but she could pull the wagons in the back or something.
Yeah. Okay, let's move on. Let's look at verses 11 to 16. If someone read, let's start with, we're going to do it a little bit of a time. So someone read verses 11 and 12 of chapter 11.
It shall come to pass in that day that the Lord shall set his hand again the second time to recover the remnant of his people who are left from Assyria and Egypt, from Pathros and Cush, from Elam and Shinar, from Hamath and the islands of the sea. He will set up a banner for the nations. He will assemble the outcast of Israel and gather together the dispersed of Judah from the four corners of the earth.
That's good, yeah. So Jesus will send for the remnant of Israel from wherever they've been dispersed, and they're all over the place. I know Jews, and you probably know people that are Jews, and they're all over the place. And many nations are mentioned here, Assyria, Egypt, and so forth. And I'm not going to try to, I decided not even to go into, I could have done a bunch of research and found out where all those places are, but they're all over the place. He says he's going to assemble them for the four corners of the earth. One of the things he uses here is, your translation said the islands of the sea, I think is what it said.
Mhm.
Wasn't that, Bob? And
Yes.
and the
Yeah,
ESV
New King
says,
James.
the ESV says the coastlands of the sea. And I've been, this is a term that Isaiah will repeat over and over again, talking about peoples dispersed around the world. And I believe he's talking about countries that they didn't know about,
Far away,
that were far away they didn't know about, like North and South America,
or even Europe that time,
Europe, Australia, New Zealand,
China.
They know about these places. And I believe that's what he was talking about. When he's trying to name all these places, then he finally says, from the four corners of the earth. He mentions both Israel and Judah because in Isaiah's time, they were separated, and they had been for a couple of hundred years in Isaiah's time. Okay, in verse 13, someone read verse 13.
The jealousy of Ephraim shall depart, and those who harass Judah shall be cut off. Ephraim shall not be jealous of Judah, and Judah shall not harass Ephraim.
Okay, so those are the north and south kingdoms. So when after Solomon died, his son Rehoboam became the king. But Solomon sinned pretty badly at the end of his reign and started sacrificing to idols because of his foreign wives. And God punished him by dividing the kingdom and giving most of it to the north away from him and letting his son only have Judah. And so the northern kingdom is often named Ephraim. Ephraim was the chief tribe of the northern kingdom. And Judah was the chief tribe of the southern kingdom. And so they were divided. And here it says, the jealousy of Ephraim shall depart. And those who harass Judah shall be cut off, and Ephraim will not be jealous of Judah, and Judah shall not harass Ephraim. They're going to get along. They're going to be reunited. That's what God is saying to us through Isaiah. They're going to be reunited. All the tribes of Israel will be reunited, and there will no longer be a northern kingdom and a southern kingdom. That's important. Verse 14, I'm just going to read it for the sake of time. But they shall swoop down on the shoulder of the Philistines in the west. Together they shall plunder the people of the east, and they shall put out their hand against Edom and Moab, and the Ammonites shall obey them. Basically, what he's saying is Israel's going to be ascendant under Jesus' rule, and those people, Edom, Moab, and the Ammonites, all of them were a thorn in their side all the time, from Saul, King Saul, all the way actually through the judges, from the judges all the way to the end. Edom, Moab, and the Ammonites were a thorn in their side, and the Philistines were a thorn in their side, and that's all going to be eliminated. You know, let me tell you a little bit of history about the Philistines. Were Canaanites, and they actually are closer to Egyptians than to other, because they were, so Ham, one of Noah's sons, his son, one of his sons was Egypt, named Egypt. And from Egypt, the son of Ham, the son of Noah, were the Philistines came from him as one of the descendants of Egypt, the son of Ham. Edom, where did Edom come from?
What?
No,
No, that was,
Edom came from Esau,
oh,
Jacob's brother.
that's right.
Edom came from Esau, Jacob's brother. Moab and the Ammonites came from Lot. So after God rescued, the angels rescued Lot and his daughters and his wife, but his wife turned into a pillar of salt, from Sodom and Gomorrah, he went to live in a cave, and his daughters, who were very worldly, decided to go and make their father drunk and had sex with them, and they had children. And the older daughter had a son she named Moab, and the younger daughter had a son she named Ben-Ami, who became the Ammonites. So it became Moab and the Ammonites. All those people are related. They're all related. So Edom was related because he was Jacob's brother, Esau. Esau became the Edomites because it has to do with, Edom means red, and Esau had red hair, and that's the way the name came to be. And then Moab and the Ammonites came from Lot. And they've been a thorn in their side ever since. But here it's saying that during this time, Israel will control them. And then in verses 15 and 16, which will be the last one, well, we're not going to finish them. Got one more thing to do, but 15 and 16, and the Lord will utterly destroy the tongue of the sea of Egypt, and will wave his hand over the river with his scorching breath, and strike it into 7 channels, and he will lead people across in sandals. Be very shallow. And there will be a highway from Assyria for the remnant that remains of his people, as there was for Israel when they came up from the land of Egypt. So Jesus is going to make it easy for the remnant of Israel to return to Israel. They'll be able to return from the south. The Nile River and so forth is a hindrance right now, but he's going to change it. physically change it such that it won't be a hindrance anymore. And then he's going to make a highway from the north. Could be a freeway, who knows? But there's going to be a highway from the north, so people will be able to come from the north. People will be able to come from the south. So the people of Israel will return during Jesus' reign. And what I wanted to do to close out, I would like us just to read chapter 12 of Isaiah. It's really a beautiful song of thanksgiving that the people, the remnant of Israel will sing when they've returned to the land. And I'm going to bring it up here. Here it is.
Okay.
So, Nancy, do you have that? Could you read that?
Yeah, what was the verses again?
It's just all of chapter 12. It's just 6 verses.
Isaiah 12.
Isaiah.
Okay, in that day you will say, I will praise you, O Lord. Although you were angry with me, your anger has turned away, and you have comforted me. Surely God is my salvation. I will trust and not be afraid. The Lord is my strength and my song. He has become my salvation. With joy you will draw water from the wells of salvation. In that day you will say, give thanks to the Lord, call his name, make known among the nations what he has done, and proclaim that his name is exalted. Sing to the Lord, for he has done glorious things. Let this be known to all the world. Shout aloud and sing for joy, people of Zion, for great is the Holy One of Israel among you.
There you go.
Isn't that cool? This is going to be their song when they return. And I like the last part of that last verse, for great in your midst, or as you said, Nancy, in your translation, among you, for great in your midst is the Holy One of Israel. He's with them in their midst. Never before, well, during Moses' time, God kind of, sort of his glory was there in the tabernacle, but it's not going to be the same.
It wasn't hidden in the tabernacle.
Jesus is going to be physically there. They'll be able to look and see him. He will show himself to people. He will talk to people. He'll be right in their midst. He'll be among them. What a glorious time to be alive on this earth. It's no wonder that the people of the Jews at Jesus' time wanted Jesus to become the king. They read all this stuff. They read all this stuff and they wanted Jesus to set up his kingdom, but it wasn't time. But that's past now. That's all past. And now we're looking forward. Now we're looking forward to this that's prophesied in Isaiah. I think it's pretty cool. I don't know about you, I think it's pretty cool. Anybody have any questions to add? You want to add to this? Comments?
Looking forward to it all.
Amen. Amen. I'm going to stop the